From the bowels of New York to all the way to the top of the high table, everyone knows John Wick for his exploits in the past, and he's respected for it. Whatever impossible job Viggo Tarasov entrusted him with made sure that John went down as a legend. But that's the thing, he never went down. Instead, he chose to retire and leave the world of organized crime behind, just so that he could spend some time with his dying wife. The story so far hasn't revealed what John did to earn his freedom, but he was pulled back into the dark, sophisticated world where he made a name for himself. And what better way to bring him back to the fold than by the hands of the son of the man who freed him in the first place? You might all remember how this all started. Josef killed his dog and stole his car, and when his dad Viggo found out what he had done, he was livid. I mean, this was the guy who once killed 3 men in a bar with a pencil, the man you send to kill the Baba Yaga, and Viggo's idiot of a son gave him a reason to hunt him down to the ends of the world.
Custom bolt carrier release and charging handle. Textured grips should your hands get wet.
John was out for good. He wanted nothing to do with the high table or the Continental anymore. He only wanted to live out the rest of his days with Daisy, the puppy his wife left him as a gift. It was then that we were taken to the depths of the underground world where Wick once thrived in, a world with its own set of rules and its own specialists. No, I'm not only talking about assassins here. You already know there are plenty of those. With John himself being the best of them, there are also more veteran ones like Marcus and Cassian, along with a host of new ones such as Ares and Miss Perkins. But there are other professionals who help out the hitmen and the Continental. There's the infamous Charlie and his crew, who are often called upon to clean up the crime scene after the business has been conducted. John himself has called upon his services even at his own house.
Goodbye, Charlie.
Yeah.
Then there's also Aurelio, the mechanic who runs an illegal chop shop. Hats off to this guy though. The amount of times John has totaled his car is insane, and Aurelio always somehow manages to repair it. Then there are the heads of the Continentals. These guys are always the establishment of their respective hotels, which serve as a safe haven for everyone in the world of John Wick.
When you needed help, I was there.
Now, Winston is the manager for the New York branch and is one of the closest allies of our favorite hitman. You guys may remember Julius from John Wick 2. He was the head of the Continental in Rome, and Halle Berry as Sophia Al-Azwar, who was in charge of the Casablanca branch in Parabellum. There's only one universal rule at the Continental. No business is to be conducted on its grounds. And by business, I mean killing people. Apart from that, the staff of the Continental will take care of their guests' every need. Whether they need fine wine or deadly weapons, the sommelier is always ready with the best suggestions. They also have a tailor at hand to supply the clients with custom-made suits as well as body armor. There's always a doctor around to prescribe mild painkillers and to sew people back up together. And then, of course, there's the concierge, Winston's right-hand man who looks after the everyday comings and goings of the hotel. And the Continental caters to all the needs of their guests, for the right price, of course. By that, I mean the gold coins you'd have seen so often in the John Wick movies.
We'll just have to take care of ourselves.
Oh, yeah? For how long? And how much blood? You kill Santino, the Camorra and the High Table will come for you.
The coins can unlock any doors for these underground operatives, from buying the services of Charlie, the cleaner, to renting out a room in the Continental. The gold coins are the bread and butter of this elaborate criminal syndicate that expands throughout the world. But it's not the only currency that the hitmen use. There are also the markers. You may remember one that Jonathan gave to Santino D'Antonio, or the one Winston gave to John. These are more like registered blood oaths. The holder of a marker can call in a favor from the one who gave it to them, and refusal isn't an option. Failing to honor the marker, running from it, or even trying to kill the one holding the marker means one thing: death. So there's really no way around it.
The path to paradise begins in hell. So be it. You hand me your ticket, I will tear it.
just like there's no way around getting excommunicado. One of the ways to end up with that is by conducting business on Continental grounds. It means that the Continental or any entity related to it will refuse to offer its services to the excommunicated member, and on top of that, the High Table will place a bounty on their head. Winston used his influence to give John a 1-hour head start after he killed Santino on Continental grounds. John had to run all the way around the world to the desert and ask the Elder for his forgiveness to lift the bounty off his head. Now, for those of you wondering, the Elder is the one above the table, the de facto leader of the crime lords and the most powerful guy in Wick's world. From the trailer for the latest installment in John's saga, the Elder will return along with a lot of his old allies. Winston and Sharon are bound to take their roles as the closest and most trusted pals of the Baba Yaga. Lawrence Fishburne will also reprise his role as the Bowery King. He's already one of the most influencing members of John's close circle and has eyes on the High Table because they did him wrong the last time around. But there are also a lot of new faces being introduced to the world of John Wick. Fans were really excited to see the Ip Man legend Donnie Yen himself, who's going to be playing a blind assassin, Kane, and will most likely be John's main challenge. Bill Skarsgård will take up the mantle of the Marquis, the latest member of the High Table to be thrown into the mix. Kane will likely be to the Marquis what Ares was to Santino D'Antonio in John Wick 2. The director of the series, Chad Stahelski, said that he wouldn't call Skarsgård's character the main antagonist, but he'll be the guy to clean up the mess John left behind in the first 3 movies, which I'll have to admit is a daunting task in itself. Keanu Reeves put in a lot of effort to make that mess though. I mean, this guy is insane. Did you guys know that he started training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for this move? And that's not all. He even learned close quarters combat for the role. No wonder the action sequences are so slick.
An eye for an eye, John. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
John glides effortlessly through the screen, and the best part is that it all looks pretty realistic on top of being awesome. Any of you martial arts fans out there will for sure recognize some of the takedowns or submissions he does when fighting. Tell me guys, when did you last see someone reload their gun in an action movie? Something as simple as this has been done so beautifully and with so much attention that it's worthy of all the praise.
Weren't you the one tasked to dole out the beatings, not receive them?
Rusty, I guess.
To what do we owe the pleasure?
Yosef Terosov.
Like, from the surface, John Wick will not seem anything more than a simple action movie, but the way Keanu and Stahelski have executed it has redefined the whole genre. I just can't wait for Baba Yaga to single-handedly take on the whole of the crime world once again. Maybe this time, he'll finally finish off the High Table for good. That's everything you need to know about the delightfully dark world of John Wick.